The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. No sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen closer, just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast, airways feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start it as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the World Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Raw Podcast, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to George Fonts of the World Blaze Podcast, and to our most recent subscriber, Josh. Thank you guys for your continued support. It means the world to me that you continue to put up with my shenanigans every week, and that you like what I'm doing well enough to, show your support monetarily. And you are better than other people. You are more valuable. You are of high worth individuals. You are the wonderful human beings that just brighten my day in the most real of ways. And I appreciate you all greatly. Okay, so anyway, there's a lot to talk about this week. If you want it addressed in a logical or reasonable or rational manner, I would suggest go out check out this episode of Razor Wire that came out this week. They touched on a lot of the stuff, not everything because it was so much stuff the guys couldn't get to everything, but another phenomenal show, another great weekend. Can't recommend it enough. Fitz, I hope you're feeling better, brother. It's all the housekeeping I can think of at the moment. So anyway, where am I going to start today? There are multiple things that are pissing me off that I want to address. Some of them are probably going to come as no surprise because despite all my best intentions, this show has become a political podcast in a lot of ways. Actually, no, there's some housekeeping I could get into. That guest episode I talked about a couple of weeks ago, finally, there was a snafu, because it wouldn't be this show if things weren't going sideways every once in a while. But it did actually finally wind up happening. Sat down with the lady this morning. Lisa, very, very nice lady, very, very good conversation. It was a good time, good talk. She wrote a book. She was a Democrat insider for like 20 years, and what we talked about, what woke her up to the fact that it was a frickin' cult. And that's actually her book is like Deprogramming Dems and how to escape the woke mind cult. And it's I probably got that wrong because, again, I don't have it written down in front of me because this is Aaron. I don't have organization or skills, apparently. And I have other things holding my attention today. Now, to just kind of jump into things, we're going to start out with one of the big things that came up this week was Marjorie Taylor Greene announced her official resignation. She is going to be stepping down as a representative for her area. And she announced that she's going to be... She announced that she will be stepping down January 5th, will be resigning, retiring, however you want to look at it, leaving Congress. And she is doing so because she said, and it's true, she's been kind of cast out by the MAGA cult, and she did it. She put out an announcement. I highly encourage you to go to your preferred social media source and find it. It's worth the little read. She's had a lot to say in terms of, how the right has turned into just as much of a cult as the left. I'm paraphrasing here, of course, saying that, she's been stabbed in the back by Donald Trump because she doesn't give him blanketing, unquestioned support because she is still an America First person. She still believes in prioritizing American priorities, the whole Epstein client debacle that which we're also going to touch on later here. But she cited a lot of things that are valid complaints about the current administration, things that he campaigned on, things that he got support on that he did not fucking deliver on. And people want to go out there and act like it's a case of, oh, well, he's doing 5D chess. He's making moves. You don't have all the information. You don't have all the facts. And yeah, granted, while we don't have all the facts and we don't have all the information, we also don't have delivery on promises that were made. Promises made, promises kept. The Donald, well, when he got back into office initially, I said I was cautiously optimistic because it seemed like he might have actually learned a lesson from his first term and then subsequent loss to fucking Sleepy. Now, a lot of people are out there still saying that was probably an invalid election. I'm still inclined to agree. There was way too much fuckery going on in the 2020 election for me to even remotely consider it was accurate. Kind of like the mayor elect or the governor election in New Jersey this midterm cycle. I mean, yes, there's a fact that midterm voters don't turn out. There's also the fact that they found 300,000 extra votes that didn't happen in the previous election, which had the highest voter turnout in recorded history. But somehow New Jersey had more turnouts for this midterm governor's election. And oddly enough, all of those votes swung in favor of Mickey What's-Her-Nuts, who is an absolutely horrible pick, fucking, former spook, helicopter pilot, dumb cunt that's going to run the country into the ground because she's a socialist piece of shit. So I feel sorry for my Jersey friends. I hope you guys get through this all right. But anyway, yeah, so back to Marge and her departure letter saying she is going to be stepping down after January 5th. Because she does not feel that she has, been supported properly. She's after all the work she did to get the Donald. As soon as she started saying she didn't agree with something he was doing, he immediately threw her to the fucking wolves, which is what the fucking Cheeto dusted motherfucker does. It's not. It's. This was a behavior I was hoping he had learned from and decided not to repeat after his first term. And anybody who's sitting there going, well, you're a MAGA person, you can't say that. First off, reminder, I never claimed that title. I've never said I'm a MAGA person. I am an America First person. There's a difference, and unfortunately, that phrase is also being thrown around and co-opted by the fucking left now. So it's the fact that they don't live according to those values is an entirely different conversation, which we can have at some point should it come to it. But on the other hand, that's not something where it's just I feel like screaming to the void is appropriate form for that. I feel like that needs to be an actual conversation, which means I need to get people involved. So maybe I'll be setting up a round table or something. I've actually been kicking around the idea of doing a round table episode here, just bringing on 4 or 5 fucking people and moderating it a little bit and just letting the conversation flow. So if you guys want to see that, hit me up on one of the socials, email me, go to the website, give me feedback. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. The vast majority of the people who I interact with on a regular basis already know how to get a hold of me. So you guys just let me know what's going on. Tell me what you think that'll be fun. If you want to be involved with it, let me know. If you're not a podcaster, if you've never been on a live stream, you've never been on a episode of anything, and you really want to try, reach out to me. I will give you a chance. You don't need a bunch of big fancy equipment to do this shit. That's the nice thing about the modern day. You can do this with a pair of iPods. Will the sound quality be as amazing as somebody with a huge expensive setup? No, you're not going to sound like fucking Rogan, but let's face it, I'm not doing Rogan numbers. Who gives a shit? If you want to try it out, let me know. We'll talk. So yeah, Marge get all butthurt, said she's retiring. Conveniently enough, she chose a date where she is now vested, so she gets her full pension. She gets her, lifelong medical benefits and everything else because she did her 5 years. Which comes into the first thing where I'm really going to start venting a little bit and complaining about this whole us versus them, and these motherfuckers really are. They do think they're the modern day royalty class, because what other job in the fucking world can you be at for 5 years and be vested and get a full fucking lifelong benefits package? I'll tell you, it doesn't fucking exist, because if it did, I would have 3 of them at this point in my life, because I've been at multiple employers for more than 5 years. I'm not usually the short-term kind of worker. I don't leave jobs. Jobs leave me. So it's a totally different scenario. It's unrealistic. It's a horseshit thing. It's another thing where this country is burdened supporting the upper class that is completely unworthy, in my humble opinion, of said benefits. They don't deserve lifelong benefits. They make a shit ton of money. She's leaving $25 million richer than she went into office, with a lifetime benefits package, a lifetime full pension, and she's never going to have to pay for health care again. She's never going to have to worry about a single fucking consequence of a policy she voted for. And it's not just her. It's every worthless fucking sack of shit in D.C. goes into the situation knowing full well they will never bear the consequences of anything they fucking do, because they get lifelong benefits, because they get a package where everything is paid for by the fucking taxpayer, in spite of the fact that most of them don't need the fucking support. They somehow think they deserve it. They think they're better than you, and it makes me fucking nauseous. And what's she going to do? There's a lot of speculation. Oh, well, maybe she's going to be gearing up for a run for president. It's never going to happen. It's not going to fucking work. Even on the off chance that she manages to market herself as a America First candidate to actually stick truer to the core values and beliefs of the MAGA movement, which is something we're going to touch on here after I get done venting my spleen about this fucking shit. But I don't see that happening. She's never going to be able to unify enough people and have enough forward going support, because all the fucking cultist right wing assholes that are, Trump can do no wrong, the golden god from whom all blessings flow, and Cheeto dust from his dick brings all the good things to the world. They are never going to support her because he has already decided she is fallen. She's now classified with Massey and Paul as being a fucking slag who only got where she was in the world because the Trump benevolently decided to give her his blessing. He said the same thing about Rand Paul. He said the same thing about, I don't think he's actually ever tried to say it about Massey, because he's tried to primary him twice and he fucking failed both times. Because oddly enough, it seems like voters, at least in Kentucky anyway, seem to like their politicians principled to a certain extent. They like their representatives to actually do the shit they said they're going to do, which is a foreign concept to a lot of these fucking career parasite motherfuckers. And I see a massive disconnect that is being highlighted by this division on the right. Now, I've talked before about how the Republicans and the right are a party of fucking losers. They love to fucking lose. They don't actually like to maintain power. They like to be vocal and bitch about all the bad shit the left is doing, but they're not actually doing anything to actively combat it. Other than strongly worded fucking letters, nothing has fucking changed. The movement, the people voted to fight the swamp, and the swamp fucking won. Doge has been disbanded. Nothing has been cut. Nothing has been changed. They finally reopened the government with a CR that continued Biden-era spending on Biden-era bullshit, plus added millions and billions of dollars into other fucking expenditures on top of the Biden-era spending, increasing the deficit spending to a level that is not only unsustainable, but is actually snowballing and hurling us to a fucking cliff. I no longer believe that this is accidental. I no longer believe that this is incidental. I believe this is deliberate, and it's a fucking active move to try and destabilize the country, to force us to transition. They're going to write off all this debt that that's unsustainable. They will never, ever be able to repay this debt to the country without massive cuts that they are unwilling to fucking make, because it would be slitting their own fucking throats. They need to stop handing out entitlements, stop handing out bullshit, and stop robbing the fucking people. That's literally the only way to turn the cart around, and they're not fucking going to do it. There's no interest in doing that. There's no actual servants of the country in office, with 2 or 3 minor fucking exceptions. And even Rand Paul, I'm not thrilled with everything he's doing. He's, we might have to work till 70 before you can have your Social Security. Or you motherfuckers could stop taking Social Security from us, eat the fact that you fucked off all of the American people's money, and let us be responsible for our own fucking futures. Stop robbing us blind to fucking foster this bullshit swamp. Oh, no, don't make it you have to wait an extra 5 years to fucking collect. Stop fucking stealing from us and let us invest our own fucking money, because the return the government gives is pathetic. It's as much of a failure as every fucking thing else these parasites put their hands on. There's no incentive for them to be good at their jobs, so they're not. It's human fucking nature to be as lazy as you can get away with. And when you get to the class of motherfuckers in D.C. setting policy for this entire fucking country, they are the pinnacle of worthless motherfuckers, because they feel they finally got that brass fucking ring. They got the job where they do not have to fucking actually perform. All they got to do is show up, get a fucking check. And thanks to this last session of Congress, they've proven they don't even actually have to fucking show up, because they took so much goddamn time off with stroking it with their fucking thumbs up their asses with the government shutdown. The left was actually responsible for the shutdown. Yes, I will concede that, because until the Democrats crossed the aisle and were labeled traitors by their own fucking party for doing it to reopen the government and reinstitute all these fucking programs and policies, the Republicans were more than content to just stay out of session. Mike Johnson kept the House out of session. The House's responsibility to everything was done. They could have been going up there trying to work on things. They could have been offering up suggestions and solutions. They could have been doing all sorts of things. They could have confirmed and passed the bill that was literally passed the day they reopened to actually put the Epstein files out. The bill that, even though Trump was running all his mouth about all this other bullshit, once the bill went through to actually force the release of these files and this paperwork, he signed it when it wound up on his desk. He didn't try to fucking veto it. He didn't try and overturn it. He ran out of tricks and signed off on it and said, here, it's signed. Let's get it over with. Let's move on to the next fucking thing. And meanwhile, yes, it was done, and he wants to fucking burn bridges with people who were pushing for this shit, and he wants to call out people for not being MAGA, for not fucking jumping on board. He's out there trying to say that the right is more unified, more powerful than ever, with a few notable exceptions. Those few notable exceptions are the only ones actually trying to keep their word and get anything fucking done. This motherfucker, he's out there, oh, well, you know, we're running the greatest government, the biggest, they're donating bigly. He's more worried about his fucking ballroom than he is about actually fucking dealing with the shit that he ran on. They seem to have forgotten, without the fucking independents, without the fucking politically homeless people that are in the center like myself, without the people that considered themselves Democrats and they came to their side because he was either backing and they were going with because Tulsi came over or because RFK came over. They were not there because of the golden fucking God. And this arrogant son of a bitch let his fucking ego get involved to the point where he is 100% convinced that the movement is only successful because of him. And the fucking cult of personality that worships his fucking Cheeto dusted ass is out there acting like all these other people are traitors to the principle. Not that he's not delivering on the shit he promised to get those people to support him. He won by an overwhelming margin. He won with a fucking mandate because of things he said to people that he is not delivering on. He is not, despite all the PR spin coming out of the DOJ trying to say how they're the most fucking 2A friendly administration. No, the most 2A friendly administration was back pre-1900, before all of this bullshit came into play, when you could go out and buy a fucking machine gun from Sears and Roebuck in a catalog and have it delivered to your fucking house. There's nothing pro-2A about this administration. Fucking Pam Bondi, who I said from the jump was a shit appointment, has come out and issued a statement that basically not only is defending the NFA, which is a massive infringement because it applies a tax to execute your Second Amendment rights. It is literally a penalty and a prohibition on keeping poor people from doing shit because it is a tax levied to stop people from buying certain pieces of hardware. And when the tax was reduced to zero, making it simply a registration, which is a direct violation of the Constitution, their whole justification was it's not a conflict, it's not a impedance, it's a tax on this license to have this thing, which means you're paying for a fucking right, which is a fucking violation of the Second Amendment. Full stop. So now they're out there, and Pam Bondi literally basically issued a draft of a statement that could be construed as also saying handguns should be illegal too, or be NFA items and be on a registration where you have to pay for every handgun you want to own. Not that you don't already pay state tax, sales tax, local tax, excise tax, purchase tax, depending on the state you live in, whether you're paying for licensing or permature. It's all violations. State level shit needs to be addressed. The fact that I live in a communist state where I can't have certain magazines because, oh my God, those extra 3 rounds make the gun so much more fucking dangerous. No, it doesn't. And criminals don't follow laws. So I don't know. It's like you look any given weekend in Chicago, there are the strictest gun laws in the fucking country. Massive amounts of shooting, and every firearm seized is massively illegal, not only because it's owned by an unregistered person, it's fucking made illegal by modifications performed on it. I'm thinking, gangbangers love their Glock switches. Glock switches are a fun little toy, but anybody who's ever shot a fucking Glock that has a switch on it and put it in fucking rock and roll mode knows if you're not already a pretty good shot, you aren't hitting shit with that fucking gun that you intend to. It's a spray and pray situation. That's why these dumb motherfuckers get barrel clips that hold 100 fucking rounds and cram them into the bottom of these fucking guns, making them ridiculously unwieldy. And they're harder to aim. They're harder to control. That's why so many fucking innocent people that have fuck all to do with the conflict wind up getting shot in the fucking crossfire. And you got these brain dead retard politicians going, well, see, this is why we need to take the guns. No, you need to actually fucking prosecute the criminals. Put these motherfuckers in jail. Put the guy who was arrested 72 fucking times, who's out and released because some fucking bleeding heart liberal judge said, hey, you know what? This poor black guy's just not getting a fair shake, despite the fact that he's got 72 fucking arrests on his record. And he gets out and he goes and he lights a girl on fire on the fucking L. It's utterly disgusting. It's retarded. This weak-minded victims are okay because we can't be mean to the criminal mindset that is fucking this country over. Absolutely, entirely the fault of one side. And it's not not accidental. It's not like, oops, we made a boo-boo, because if it was something that simple, they could say, hey, you know what, this isn't fucking working. We need to rethink our fucking approach. But instead of saying, hey, you know what, not prosecuting criminals doesn't really work out, because all the good law-abiding people still wound up getting killed and raped and murdered and robbed and fucking lit on fire on public transit. Oh, well, we need to make public transit safer, and it should be free, because that would make everything better, because then the guys wouldn't be struggling to pay that $1.25 to get on the fucking L. And then, you know, if they didn't have to pay that $1.25, I'm sure he would have been in a much better place mentally and not doused a girl in fucking gasoline. Mouth breathing fucktards. I swear to God, anybody who justifies and tries to defend this shit at this point, you're a goddamn retard. You are the fucking problem. I'm at the point I can't even play nice anymore. And I was all set to come out and do this like really calm, peaceful, happy holidays, guys. I want to try and be more focused on the positive, and the year's wrapping up, and we're going to be going into a new year, and hopefully it'll be a better year for all of us. Things will get better. Maybe some of the fucking bullshit promises will get delivered on. Maybe once the Epstein file actually starts getting parsed out and looked at, and we start to realize that, hey, there's a lot of fuckery going on here, things will get better. Maybe people will start to realize, hey, there's a lot of bullshit going on in this nation, and it's time we start actually sitting down and having a talk like fucking grown-ups, instead of listening to the screeching fucking college failures who are all graduated, but none of them can fucking read, because, education is racist and biased and bigoted and phobic. And if you expect people to be actually able to perform at level, you're a bigot. So we have this weak-minded mentality. And like I said, I had a very nice talk with a very nice lady this morning, and I was feeling pretty good about life. And then I sat down and actually started doing show notes and writing myself little footnotes and looking at the world around me and everything that's been going on. And I started to get irritated. And then I started to get angry. And then I realized I'm tired and crabby and I probably needed a nap. And I didn't take a nap, which I really should have done, because I'm running on fumes already, which in a lot of ways makes this a better show for you guys, because I'm way more likely to go full-blown unfucking hinged. But on the other side of that coin, it also makes it a lot harder for me to avoid going on disjointed, rambling, fucking irrelevant shit. So we'll see which way, which way, modern man. We'll see how this fucking goes. So anyway, that's, long roundabout way of talking about a lot of dumb shit that's going on in the world. And so that brings me to the next thing I'm going to talk about in true non sequitur fashion. Thing that irritates me that happened over the weekend. There was a video that was released. This is like literally textbook propaganda. 6 Democrats came out and made a video. I actually forgot who some of them were out there. Mark Kelly, Jason Crow, what's her name, Slotkin, and I can't think of who the other 3 fucking were. Former military asset, former intelligence asset, fucking people who are in a position where, particularly Slotkin, her whole thing was she was a CIA operative who specialized in like destabilizing fucking governments. So anything that comes out of her fucking mouth, I'm looking at through a lens of, this cunt was trained by the government to destabilize governments, and now she's out here trying to put out these messages to the American people. And they put out a message aimed directly at American service members, saying to remember they swore an oath to the Constitution, and they are there to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and they have an obligation to disobey any illegal orders. We've got Mark Kelly, Jason Crow, Eliza Slotkin, and then the other 3 whose names are escaping me at the moment, who put out this fucking extremely cringeworthy video. It's whoever's advising these fuck waffles really needs to get over themselves. Stop trying to make politicians into TikTok fucking personalities. I know you're trying to appeal to the younger generation. You're trying to get that Gen Z dollar, whatever, however and I don't mean literal dollar. I mean like the digital currency of their fucking attention. But at the end of the day, it doesn't come off as like, hey, look how connected they are. And the kind of people that it appeals to, now granted, I feel like in a lot of ways that's the leftist base. That's these fucking retards who are easily swayed by shiny objects and short form content. It's people who don't have the attention span to watch a full 3-minute instructional video on how to make fucking bread. Okay. It's the people who I honestly think if we started giving cognition tests before voting, would not have a say in our fucking representative government, and that would probably be for the fucking better. People who can't answer basic questions like what year was this country founded, people who can't name any of the founding fathers, people who fuck up who's on their money. I mean, they're just people that are fucking idiots, and you are forced to realize we share space with these people. We share oxygen with these people. They fucking vote. It's disheartening in a lot of fucking ways. But anyway, so back to my point. So they put out this video, and they co-opted a phrase, "Don't give up the ship," which is, to appeal to the military, and it's deliberately phrased and coached to try and make it seem like that's the whole rebranding out of the left that's been going on the last couple of months, where they're trying to make themselves seem like they're the actual patriotic Americans. They're the ones who are actually going to save this country. They're the ones whose priorities are the American values. Meanwhile, everything they do, when you look at their actual behaviors, contradicts everything this country was founded upon, because they're a bunch of self-serving cunts and commies, and I really can't stand any of them. And then you get people like Jason Crow, who is ultimately, at the end of the day, he likes to flash his military service every time somebody says something to him, but he's also the guy there's a very realistic picture of him cowering behind old men during the fucking January 6th Capitol tour, who likes to talk about how it was a horrible insurrection and how he almost died, I guess, because people stayed in between the velvet ropes, and that was really intimidating to him. So his, credentials as a badass, I don't care how much service you put in. So we get Jason Crow and Mark Kelly are the two that really are sticking with me as two terms of these fucking retards of all people should fucking know better. Now, I think they're both, I've said it before, I think pretty much everybody in DC is very aptly titled an oath breaker. I don't think a single one of them has actually upheld their oath of office. Like I said, with a couple of possible exceptions, like I said, Massey and Rand Paul, they actually try to uphold and defend the Constitution and the values therein. But most of these people are self-serving fuckwaffles who would fucking sell their own grandmothers out if they thought it would get them an extra fucking little envelope under the door when nobody was looking. So I feel perfectly comfortable calling every last one of these fuckstains oath breakers, and I do it without the slightest hint of irony when it's, why do you say that, Aaron? You didn't take the oath. What gives you the right? Because I fucking read what they swore to do, and I can see what they're failing to do in said execution of said oath. Not necessarily the military service oath, but the oath of office they took when they were elected to represent the American people. Now, but Mark Kelly and Jason Crow both made this stupid little cringy video, and their argument is, well, we weren't saying they should disobey any orders, just the illegal ones. So technically we're not committing sedition. But what you are trying to do, and this is one of those things, it's a gamble, and it's a reaping what you sow kind of situation where there's a very real possibility there will be consequences for this, because they are trying to sow a seed of doubt in the validity of the orders of the President of the United States. And they have repeatedly said on multiple platforms, you didn't take an oath to Donald Trump. And this is a leftist talking point across the fucking board. It's not just these two idiots. These two idiots got on video and made a fucking thing and posted it to their social media actively with the words coming out of their mouth. So they have removed any form of deniability or any sort of cutout that they could have, saying, oh, well, my intern misunderstood what I was trying to say that I wanted them to put on my social media posts. They've completely negated that possibility. Kelly is doubling down on this shit. I'm proud of it. I said what I said. Here, look, here's a picture of all my medals. Here's my track record. Here's how many spacewalks I took. Here's how many fucking, missions I flew. I was flying in a plane and I had missiles blowing up around me. I'm a fucking hero. Kiss my ass and tell me I'm great. I can call Donald out for what he's doing because I was doing this, that, and the other. And in the same breath, they're saying, okay, well, you didn't swear an oath to the president. You swore an oath to the Constitution. If you look at the actual oath every fucking soldier in the United States military has taken when they are sworn into their position as a soldier of the U.S. government, it says to obey the lawful orders of the president. Now I'm all worked up again. My verbiage is going to be wrong, but it essentially says the orders of the president, i.e., the commander-in-chief of the military. It's a utterly ridiculous false equivalency that these assholes are trying to push, saying that they are responsible for upholding their oath to the Constitution, but they don't actually have to listen to the president if they think his orders are illegal, unless an order is actually found to be illegal by a court of law, which has yet to fucking happen. Donald Trump has been very careful and very cagey with his entire use of the military. He's not violating any laws, which they have been forced to admit upon question, because oddly enough, even at this point, some of the news media has come out and said, like, what illegal orders specifically are you talking about in this video? And they're like, what's her name? Slotkin was forced to admit that, yes, well, to the best of my knowledge, he hasn't actually issued any illegal orders yet, but they need to be reminded, first off, no, they fucking don't. Their oath of office is something that I'm sure they all took seriously when they fucking made it. And then at the end of the day, they said, okay, here's the thing. How many times were you reminded of your fucking oath of office when you were in fucking? How many politicians came out and said, "Hey, by the way, you don't have to follow illegal orders from the government"? How many of these motherfuckers spoke up when military members were being kicked out of the fucking service for refusing to follow an illegal order and get the experimental COVID jab? They were silent. It was fucking crickets because it was their side doing it and it was part of the agenda. They only give a shit about the Constitution when it's convenient to their fucking marketing point and when it's convenient to what they fucking want. They don't actually believe in any of the shit that comes out of the mouth when it comes to we need to uphold the Constitution. They don't believe in putting the people of this country first other than as the first thing they can take advantage of to enrich or aggrandize themselves. And I guarantee Kelly's getting ready to run for fucking office. He's going to throw his hat in for the next fucking Democratic presidential candidate. Why? Because he's old and he's a cocksucker and he's a fucking piece of shit. The fact that I hate him so much. I hated him before any of this started. I don't hate him because he's questioning the fucking Cheeto. I question the Cheeto all the goddamn time. I hate him because he's an opportunistic piece of shit who doesn't have the fucking testosterone to actually own up to what he believes when he's always trying to coach it in this bullshit rhetoric of, oh, well, here's what I think. And here I'm saying this because I'm a patriot. I'm saying military members, they just have to pay attention to what's going on, and if they feel an order might be illegal, they're not under any obligation to follow their command. So he's undermining the command structure of the government, which is actively putting the military in a position of being vulnerable should the need arise that they need to follow orders. You're not in the service to suss out whether or not you think something might be legal. The legality of something is not what the grunts need to concern themselves with should the shit hit the fucking fan. And like I said, pretty much everybody out there has been forced to concede, even though we have, for lack of a better way of putting it, activist liberal judges coming out every other fucking day and saying that they need to go out and, Donald Trump can't do this. Donald Trump can't do that. Donald Trump, this is illegal. Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to do this. Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to do that. Donald Trump doesn't have and every single one of these leftist appointed activist pieces of shit, many of whom are not even actually fucking naturally born American citizens, which is a whole nother tear I could go off on, where I think these brain dead fucking mouth breathing, knuckle dragging, DEI hired sacks of shit who believe criminals need to be coddled, fucking teddy bears, unicorns, and rainbow farts can fucking fix the world as long as we don't fuck. The problem isn't that people are horrible, violent fucking animals that need to be punished, locked up, and put under and held accountable for their fucking shitty actions. It's they didn't get enough hugs as kids. Why? Because we encourage generations of fatherless fucking homes. You have fatherless fucking behavior. You have degenerate dirtbags who have no fear of any kind of consequences for their actions. So why should they not indulge their most base, vile fucking fears and fucking beliefs and cause the rest of the decent, normal, civilized society to fucking cave and knuckle under? Because you'll get in more trouble and you'll be more harshly punished if you act out to defend yourself from these scumbag motherfuckers than the other motherfuckers who are out there actually. Now, I take a lot of flack from certain individuals for this. I'm not apologizing for it. And yes, John, there's one of those fucking tells that something's going to come out of my mouth. But I walk around and I made no secret of I am a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I'm armed every fucking where I go. I always have a friend with me. My theory is I will stop carrying when I don't need it. And when your magic little sticker on the fucking door of your property, your vestibule, your whatever the fuck it is I'm going into, when it magically makes me unarmed when I walk in the door, I'll feel safe being in that building unarmed, because that means I know nobody else is getting in with a piece either. And I'm more than happy to, say I'll take my chances. And you can, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. I will get up, I will make my case eloquently with using as minimal swears as I have to, because I will actually respect the courts more than the fucking judge sitting on the fucking bench does, as they proceed to throw out the actual fucking law and legality and practicality to favor criminals and punish people who have the audacity to stand up for themselves, protect their loved ones, protect others, protect their property, protect the things they've worked for. Because at the end of the day, people are saying that property rights really don't matter when you're looking at the scale of, well, that was someone's life. You killed somebody over them stealing your things, and things can be replaced, but human lives can't be. That's instilling a fucking really high amount of value on human life for people that don't bat an eye at fucking ending it before it's had a chance to explore its fucking potential. So frankly, anytime a leftist tries to lecture me about my beliefs on saying that no, all human lives don't carry the same weight, don't have the same value, and don't have the same fucking worth, and if you decide you're breaking into my house to take my shit, you're actually deciding your life is worth less than my shit, I'm not not making that decision for you. That's a decision you made on your own behalf. At the end of the day, every single thing I own, everything that's in my house represents a piece of my time because I don't steal shit. I haven't been handed shit for free. I don't get given shit. I'm not some fucking parasite sucking off the backs of actual working people. Even though I'm fucking unemployed right now, literally, I'm not on EBT. I'm not on fucking SNAP. I don't have Medicaid. I am getting unemployment. But you know something? That's something I paid into for my entire working career. I have unemployment insurance. That's actually the full term for unemployment. So I'm really not feeling guilty about collecting on a policy I've been paying in on for the last fucking 5 years. I don't feel bad about that at all. And I'm doing my damnedest to get the fuck off of said insurance because A, it doesn't pay shit. But unfortunately, most of what's around here doesn't pay shit either. So I'm actually, it's kind of a push. It's like I can afford to be more selective about what I'm going to take for employment because I'm not going to take a job that pays the same or less than what I'm making on unemployment to get off of unemployment. That's fucking retarded. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not out there with a sense of entitlement. I'm not out there looking for handouts. I'm not out there looking for people to fucking give me shit and tell me I'm pretty so I can feel bad about things. So at the end of the day, yes, I'm going to sit there and say everything that's in my house represents a portion of my life. It is time I spent to earn the money to purchase said products that I will never get back. There's no going back. There's no refunds. There's no do-overs. There's no, hey, you know what? We know these things were your stuff. And just because you earned them, this random piece of shit should be entitled to come in your house and take what they want because they don't actually, nobody ever told them they need to earn things, or their culture says, hey, you know what? It's okay. And we have to be understanding and accepting. And if you don't believe that, you're a bigot and you're a bad person and you're selfish and no, I'm somebody who believes that my time, my life, my energy, my force, my things all have value because I went out there and I earned my things. If you want to take them from me, you're somehow saying that you shouldn't have to go forth and put forth the same effort to earn things, and you somehow deserve shit that I worked for. It's the same reason why I don't believe entitlements. I don't believe that healthcare is a right. I don't believe that food is a right. I believe that access to those things is a right. You have a right to get access to that. How you're going to accomplish that is entirely on you. Nobody owes you a fucking thing. And if I did actually have to have my taxes being taken from me to go to things like that, the secondary reason why I don't believe in like single payer healthcare, universal healthcare, any of the other bullshit that the commie leftist retards are trying to market this shit under is because the government is completely fucking inept and wasteful and incompetent in every fucking thing they do. The only reason the government manages to maintain these things is because they have a monopoly and they enforce it with the weight of law. That's why you can't mail letters through fucking FedEx or UPS and have them get there in a timely manner for a reasonable fucking rate, because the US government has a monopoly on it and they say this is the way it fucking goes. And I'm saying this in a specific thing. A couple weeks ago I bought a new pair of glasses. It was literally, I mentioned it, I said when Josh signed up for his supporter membership that I used that money to buy myself a new pair of glasses because my old ones are beat to shit. I lost my good pair. I'm using my backup pair. The lenses are all fucking scratched up. They give me a fucking headache when I wear them because they're all scratched up and everything looks blurry because, again, the lenses are fucked. So I decided to splurge, seeing as I'm unemployed and, spending $70 was a lot of money for me to be spending when I don't have any actual reliable income coming in to offset said dollars. So I ordered these glasses, right? I expect the turnaround, blah, blah, blah. ETA of arrival is, 7 to 10 days after they leave the factory. 7 to 10 days after they leave the factory was the 10th was the day they left the factory. It's been 14 days since my glasses were ordered and shipped. They were shipped via USPS. The United States Post Office, in its infinite wisdom, they're coming from Ohio. I Googled it. I could make the drive in less than a day from where they are manufactured. They've been on the en route for 14 fucking days right now. I got an update on Saturday saying that they were in Southern Illinois at the distribution center and they would be arriving at my house on Saturday. I got an update this morning saying that they are now back in fucking Ohio for some reason, because the tracking number showed them from going from the distribution center in Southern Illinois to a distribution center in Indiana to a distribution center in fucking Ohio. It's utterly retarded. I could have driven to the distribution center in Illinois in about 4.5 fucking hours. Now the ETA there is actually no ETA on the tracking software for my delivery. In the meantime, I ordered a bunch of stuff, renovation project stuff for the house last week. Not that I wanted to. I didn't want to spend the money, but it was necessary to fix a couple things around here. It wasn't a ton of money, but it was, again, money I don't have, so spending it hurts. I don't like the idea of financing certain things, but sometimes you don't have a fucking option. So, yeah, things I ordered from a manufacturer coming from the other side of the fucking country. I ordered them on Friday. They'll be here tomorrow. No fuss, no muss, no problems. You know why? Because they're coming fucking FedEx. And it was a custom order. It had to be cut to measure, or because it's not that anybody gives a shit about this. It's some flooring underlayment because I did the math wrong on the original figure, and I'm a foot and a half short. And we bought a roll that was $300 and some odd fucking dollars for the roll. Well, now the roll's 300 some odd. We paid less for the roll than for that when we bought it, but now the roll, buying another roll would be $300, and it's fucking 20 feet of roll that I need a foot and a half or it comes out to be like 3.5 square feet for the actual piece. Or you could buy it from the manufacturer, direct from the factory, custom size. Here's the panel sizes we sell. Would you like to buy one piece? Sure, it's $20. Here you go. Thank you very much. It'll be there in a couple days. We have to cut it from the fucking roll because we do batches on Friday for that, and here it comes. It'll be there on Tuesday. Thank you very much. Please pull through. You know why? Because capitalism does everything better than the fucking government. And one of the things about this is we have a groundswelling of retards that are out there yammering and buying into this whole free shit, which goes back to the reason Mondami got elected in New York, because there's a bunch of young, stupid liberal motherfuckers who, A, they're afraid of being labeled a bigot or a phobe, so they have to vote for the brown guy with shit ideals, because otherwise the people would think they're bad people. If they voted for the guy that actively worked in the 70s to make New York a safer place, that would make them bad people, because that's acknowledging that there are shit people in New York that cause a lot of problems. No, let's vote for the guy who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, possesses communist ideals because he's never had to work for a thing in his fucking life, and made a show of eating with his hands because somehow not knowing how to use silverware makes you a fucking edgy, fucking down-to-earth bonded person, because hygiene's a fucking problem, I guess. I don't fucking know what they're supposed. I don't understand the appeal behind that. I've seen a lot of videos of that recently too, and I know the internet's not the real world. I know for the most part the loudest voices are a very slim minority, because real people have real problems. They don't have time to be making stupid fucking videos. But I've seen repeated videos like white people don't eat with their fingers because their food's not tasty and all this other dumb shit. No, you fucking barbarians. That's not the case at all. It's because at some point we realize that's fucking unsanitary, you grimy motherfuckers. Like, oh, here, look, I'm going to eat rice with my hands because it's so delicious. No, it's because you're a fucking savage. We learned not to stick our fingers in our mouth, but right around the same time we stopped shitting in our pants and we had to start wearing our big kid pants. It's really not a complicated concept. Fork, knife, spoon, fucking ladle. I don't care. You don't need to be sticking your dirty, grimy fucking booger hooks in your fucking mouth every time you want to put some food in there. Some foods, it's okay. Yes, if you're eating a sandwich, I don't expect you to use it with a knife and a fork. If I see you eating pizza with a fucking fork, I will mock you until your kids cry. But it's, at the end of the day, when you're sitting there saying, no, I'm going to shovel rice and sauce into my mouth, and this somehow makes me more a man of the people, despite the fact that I grew up in a fucking trust fund and I'm worth millions of fucking dollars. And then you get these mouth breathing retards who are fucking, think they should be making $27.50 an hour, fucking pouring shitty coffee into a cup at Starbucks, because it's not even like they're making fancy fucking lattes with foam art. They're not baristas in the sense of the classical sense of like, hey, I'm going to go to a coffee bar and I'm going to get a giant cappuccino in a cup that's this fucking big. Sorry, audio medium, I forget. So I'm not going to get one of those fucking 37-ounce coffee cups with the really fancy foam art where they do like they do with a Guinness, where they draw on the top in the foam where they use the pouring and then it makes the ripples. No, it's not some crafty fucking artisanal coffee maker that's making this complaint. It's the purple-haired land whales at fucking Starbucks that are pissed off that they're not getting a living wage and they can't survive on their 22 hours a week, because any more than that's emotionally traumatic to them, because having to stand for 6.5 hours is beyond the realm of their physical capabilities, and they still deserve to have a life even though they can't even get a fucking black coffee order right. These worthless, mouth-breathing, purple-haired fucks. I swear to God. The entitlement, it's like I'm happy to see all the Starbucks that are getting shut down because these worthless fucks are refusing to work. Oh, we're on strike because we deserve better. And I think it's hilarious. Fuck Starbucks because they hired them in the first place. They created a culture that birthed this fucking monstrosity. And actually, that did nicely touch on the fucking Starbucks protests that Again, I don't know why. That's literally all I have in my fucking note is Starbucks protest. Oh yeah, so the six Democrat thing. That's where before I went spooling off into this fucking tirade about Starbucks and land whales and unemployment and entitlement and reckless government spending, which is pretty much the entire story arc of this fucking podcast, if you think about it. Yeah. So back to the six Dems making their seditious video. The very next day after they posted this cringeworthy fucking fest of just stupid, Donald Trump comes out and like I said, I actually, for those of you who are in the audio medium and listening and not watching the stream, I almost titled last week's episode "Somebody Take His Phone Away" because that's realistically how I fucking feel about it. He was doing so good. He was almost behaving presidentially. He was kind of keeping his mouth shut. He was probably doing the things he needed to do. And he wasn't making 3 a.m. posts bad mouthing the people that are supposed to be on his side because they didn't wholeheartedly kiss his ass on the most recent thing he did. And that's where I'm disappointed. That's where, like I said, I voted for him. Yeah. And he was definitely the lesser of two evils in my mind. And at the end of the day, realistically, I'm not one of those, I'm not having buyer's regret yet. I'm not at the point where it's like, you get these left wing influencers. Oh, I've been talking to voters and they're saying they regret voting for Trump. I'm sure some do. I'm sure the people who were out there that like the diehard dyed in the wool libertarians is in the libertarians who nobody hates a libertarian as much as another libertarian because they're the wrong kind of fucking libertarian. The people that are that meme of the guy from the movie Civil War with the gun, the rifle and the glasses. And like, well, what kind of American are you? Those motherfuckers. Some of them may be regretting their vote for Trump. I voted for Trump knowing full well what I was voting for and knowing full well what I expected from him. And I'll be honest, I've been getting about what I expected. And some of them have been some very disappointing I told you so. Pam Bondi is the most disappointing I told you so of my fucking life to date. Theoretically, my life's not over yet, so there may be something more disappointing to come out. But I hate the fact that I was right about what a fucking letdown she was going to be. But anyway, yeah, so back to Trump. Trump posts a tweet right after this video comes out, and it wasn't a tweet, it was on Truth Social, but it's literally says basically saying seditious behavior, the penalty for that is death. He's not fucking wrong. The penalty for sedition is death. I'm not adverse to that. I'm not. If you are actively trying to undermine this, experiment in representative government, yeah, I don't want you here. If you are actively trying to overthrow the ideals upon which this country was founded, I don't have any sympathy for you. I don't think you need to spend the rest of your life in a cell because that just makes you a fucking burden. I think you can be dealt with for about 27 cents. Well, actually, no, they usually use like 5 shooters and 3 of them get blanks. So there's actually 2 bullets in the gun plus 3 blanks for your average firing squad. So roughly we're looking at about $2 per individual to, resolve the issue. And I'm a pragmatist in a lot of ways. People will tell me I'm selfish. I'm horrible. I'm a rotten person because I'm not valuing their contributions. I'm not recognizing their intent. I don't fucking care at the end of the day. But yeah, so Trump puts out a post, says sedition is punishable by death in this country. It always has been. It always will be. It's a bigly punishment. It's fitting to the crime. Sedition, trying to undermine the government, is seditious behavior, and you're gonna die for it. We'll shoot you. It's gonna be the greatest shit, but it's gonna happen. And anyway, so Donnie Boy puts out a Trump. And like I said, yes, I said he puts out a Trump. It's a Trump. It is peak Donald. It's like 6 words, very broad and sweeping. It's not, this motherfucker said something bad and I'm going to see bad things happen to him. It's a statement of fact. Seditious breath is punished by, or seditious behavior is punished by death. It's the way the laws in this country are supposed to work. Now, legal standing in this country is no longer what it used to be, saying, well, that's the legal interpretation of things. It really doesn't carry the same weight it used to fucking mean, because in this country, we've seen very much, particularly in the last couple of decades, there's one law for thee, another law for me. And us poor folks are just gonna fucking, yeah, if it was me or you, we'd be getting fucking, probably in the express line to get fucking taken out. But in a large part, in a lot of ways, Congress seems to have blanket immunity where they can be the just biggest, massive, throbbing, blue-veined cocks on the fucking planet in terms of fucking the American people over, and they can say or do pretty much whatever they want and they get away with it. But at the end of the day, seditious behavior is still punishable by death. Immediately, Mark Kelly, in particular, I mean, Jason Crow a little bit, he made up like one or two posts saying, well, I was threatened by the president, and then pretty much immediately shut the fuck up when everybody and their mother pointed out, no, you actually weren't. Your name didn't come out of his fucking mouth. Your name was not in that tweet. It was a very broad and general tweet or post with immediate reactions out of the people. I mean, everybody knows who he was talking about. Everybody knows what he was talking about. It's not like it's, you know, some super subtle, sneaky dig. It's a case of this guy is saying exactly what he fucking means. You are undermining the readiness of the military of this country. You are fucking undermining the authority of the president in his duly appointed role in the Constitution. You're undermining his enumerated duties and responsibilities. That is, by definition, a seditious act. You are trying to undermine the federal government in the military and instill doubt in the soldiers. It's I mean, they know what it is. We've been doing it around the planet for fucking generations at this point. It's not like we don't know. We have an entire governmental body dedicated to doing this shit to other people. It's not like they can't do it here either. I mean, we're not supposed to. We're supposed to be the good guys, right? But at the same time, that's not always the fucking case. So at the end of the day, Trump puts out his very vague general statement of seditious behavior is punishable by death. Kelly tries to spool it up like some personal fucking attack. Crow says he's threatened by the president and then kind of sits down and says, oh, I support Mark Kelly and his standing up to the president for this. And for whatever fucking reason, other than the fact that Mark Kelly made a much bigger deal out of running his fucking mouth instead of just sitting his fucking bald head down and keeping his fucking head down, gets out there and starts trying to grandstand. And like I said, I really think he's trying to make himself as a candidate because he's looked at the other field of fucking Democratic candidates and said, I don't see this working real good. I mean, who do we got? We got the fat fucking the fat jelly-filled bloated fuck muppet governor of Illinois wants to throw his hat in the ring. That motherfucker, that's the only running he does is for office. He doesn't, and I'm sorry, he does his little power walks on Lakeshore at, 6:30 in the morning when all the fucking gangbangers are still sleeping with his massive army of private security. And then we've got fucking Gruesome Newsom, who I'm still waiting for his fucking skin to peel apart and the lizard skull to pop out one of these days. Not that I'm a huge believer in, the reptiloids and the serpentaconians and all this other shit, but that guy's just fucking slimy. And he runs the biggest shithole in this country. He took one of the most beautiful states in the country, one of the most prosperous states in the country, and ran it into a fucking third world status in the term of him being in office. I mean, he fucking ran San Francisco into the ground as a mayor, and the people of California said, you know what, let's give him a bigger fucking venue to express his stupidity. And so, yeah, there's another leading candidate is fucking Gavin. A lot of people are floating AOC, which oh my fucking God. She's another one too, where that cognitive dissonance and she's trying to sell shit that nobody's buying. Well, I've been talking to a lot of Trump voters that want to know about the benefits of democratic socialism. No, you fucking haven't, you vapid fucking torta. And I'm saying that she's, like I said last week, she's about 2 tortillas away from blowing the fuck up, and I'm fucking waiting for it. I want that fat bitch to be out there sweating fucking tacos. And Aaron, that's racist. That's ignorant. No, it's not. It's fucking accurate because she fucking tries to pull the fucking I'm a spicy Latina shit on her side and favorably towards her, whereas I am gonna pull out the negative stereotypes because I'm not the bigger person. I'm a fucking asshole, but that's okay. It is what it is. But yeah, and you've got this just field of garbage candidates, and you've got somebody who thinks he's going to be able to appeal to a broader base because, look at, I was in the service. Look at my shiny medals on my Navy jacket. Look at, I was in space. I flew the space shuttle. I'm an American goddamn hero, except for everything I believe and stand for is fucking antithetical to the actual American values. But I got a shiny suit and I got some medals and I got pictures of me in a helmet. And I'm gonna make that run. So he's up there running his fucking mouth trying to stump and grandstand, and then we get a post from the Department of War, which I got to be honest, I love the fact that they changed the name back to that because that's what it used to be. And Department of Defense is just, I mean, not only has the name been tainted over the last, several years, but at the end of the day, I really don't like the idea of playing defense. I mean, the best offense is a good defense or whatever. I mean, it depends on who you ask. There's a lot of varying things, but I like the idea of bringing back military standards. I like the idea of our warfighters being actual fucking warfighters and being fit and competent and capable to do their jobs because honestly, at the end of the day, that's kind of what you need to maintain your fucking government and maintain your nation. And without going into the internal attack on our sovereignty and on our deals and on our values, which is definitely going on, and that's going to be coming up here soon too. Kelly's out there running his mouth. Trump's attacking me. This is a personal. He's coming after me, and I'm a war hero and all this other shit. And I don't know whether it came from Trump or from Hegseth, but somebody, whoever's operating the Department of War's social media account, makes a post, says, yeah, so we're going to start investigating the possible case of bringing Mark Kelly out of retirement because every retired military member is subject to the Military Code of Universal Justice. So he is not, as much as he's living a civilian life now, he is still subject to the military tribunal. And if they decide to do that and nail him for a seditious act, he's fucked. I mean, that's not the U.S. legal system. That's not some federal judge is going to overturn his fucking case. So, it's one of those like, is he having an Icarus moment? Did he try and fly too close to the sun? Is he just fucked because his own fucking ego, he couldn't get around his own ego and his own dick, which probably doesn't get the attention it should because he's got a fucking wife with an actual CTE issue? Which I usually try not to bring up Gabby Giffords, but since I'm already bagging on the fucking 2A today, let's throw this into the mix. I find it very telling because he referenced her in a couple of his posts, and the bravery of my wife for standing up for this, that, and the other. Yeah, she was totally pro-gun until she got shot in the fucking head. So it just goes to show if you think gun control is going to work and enforcing these policies is a good idea, you must have fucking brain damage. So anyway, yeah, that's my little tear on that. I have no patience for those people. Yeah, so that brings me to the next thing I wanted to go off and rant about for a little while. So the last thing I wanted to bring up, and this is a very recent event, there were a bunch of Muslims, the Muslams, as John would like to say, and as I say quite a bit too, down in Florida, which is why this story just astounded me when I heard it, because out of all the fucking places in this country for this to happen, Florida doesn't make any fucking sense to me unless it's in one of those little Dade County areas where, like the little blue dots in Florida. There were a bunch of Muslims out there blocking the streets, doing their praying as they are wont to do, which, if you look at any of the 56 Muslim countries in the world that already have Islamic primary governments, any places where Sharia law is an actual enacted thing, they don't do that shit there. They don't block the streets to pray when it's time to pray. When the call goes out, they don't fucking sit down and just stop wherever they're fucking at and get in the way and hold up traffic and impede people from doing the shit they need to do. It's not done. It's fucking haram. It's done here as a means of subversion, as a means of making a population that is not of the faith concede and bow down and indulge them. And it's a foothold. It's a wedge to get in the door. It's a way to say that we are here and you're going to acknowledge us and you're going to give us what we fucking want. And if you don't, we're going to scream about how unfair you are until we're in a position of majority. And then we're going to tell you that we are now the rules. And if you don't like it, too fucking bad. You don't believe me? Take a look at what's going on in Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan has an American-born Islamist mayor that literally told a lifelong resident of the city that it is no longer a place for him and he does not belong there because he filed a petition saying he didn't want the street signs named after someone who was actively involved in terrorism when the Dearborn City Council decided to rename one of the streets after someone who is literally tied to a terrorist group. The mayor said he would host a party on the day he left town and pay for a parade. These are the people that the left wants to defend. These are the people, they do not hold American values. They're not here to assimilate. They're here to overwhelm and overtake and infest and underwhelm and take out the nation as it sits. So you have a bunch of Islamic assholes blocking traffic in the middle of the streets and in a parking lot praying in Florida. And apparently a couple of college kids came by and were taunting them with bacon after the fact, saying we can eat bacon whenever we want. Don't you want bacon? Bacon is delicious. Mocking them for praying in the street. and without going into the whole other, the fact that they're part of a death cult that worships a child molester as their prophet and is a warmongering piece of shit who historically, and these are verified by their own historical documents, that he was a warmongering piece of shit that married a 6-year-old and fucked her when she turned 9. So at least he had the restraint to wait those 3 years, because that made a huge fucking difference. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And people will tell me, "Oh, Aaron, you can't say those things. You're going to offend somebody. Somebody's going to get mad at you. Somebody's going to come." I don't fucking care. You know what? I put bacon grease in the hollow points in my gun. I don't care. We'll see who's right. But at the end of the day, so this happens. These kids are mocking them. They didn't assault them. They didn't do anything bad. They didn't interfere with their prayers. They talked some shit and waved some bacon around. Now, the thing about this is, again, this happened in Florida. So you'd think, hey, it's Florida, right? Florida's a red fucking place. There's no way there was anything that really came of this. The imam of that group took to social media and cried on camera that he was traumatized by these inconsiderate young men taunting him with bacon because they knew it was haram and unclean, and they were mocking us with it. And he literally broke down in tears on fucking camera. The 2 college boys who were doing it have been charged with fucking felonies, with hate crimes, for mocking someone with bacon. The fact that this is even being considered is disgusting. It's an complete infringement upon the right to free speech. They can express themselves however the fuck they want. They didn't touch anybody. They didn't assault anybody. They didn't hurt anybody. They mocked them with fucking cured meat. The fact that any government official would cave to this shows that we're being invaded. It shows that it's a soft takeover at this point, and it's pathetic. It's not too late to put it down, but it needs to be addressed. It needs to be stopped. Now, to go further upon that, there's another individual that I follow on social media who goes by the Scottish Korean. He's a person of Korean descent who lives in Scotland. He's a Scottish Korean. I don't know how else to fucking explain it. This guy has been posting videos for quite a while now. He walks around shirtless with bacon wrapped around his shoulders, talking about how Islam is a problem and why is it they're only pulling this shit in non-Islamic countries instead of going to countries that already have Sharia law on the books, to countries where their ideals are already in play, because it's not actually about going somewhere for a better life. It's about overwhelming and taking over and spreading their beliefs to countries that don't have it by force. And this guy has been very publicly stating these things. Now, unfortunately for him, he's a UK resident. He lives in the UK. He's also a professional cellist. He goes out on the road. He does tours. He does all this sort of stuff. He recently came home, was arrested by the UK government as a terrorist for making fucking TikTok videos with bacon wrapped around his shoulders, calling out Islamic extremism and telling them to stop fucking goats, and calling Muhammad a child molesting pedophile warlord. None of which is inaccurate, none of which is wrong, none of which is hate speech, because it's the truth. Hate speech is a stupid term to fucking begin with. It's the things that people who don't believe in free speech start trying to use to hamper you from being able to say things because they don't like it. Whether it's true or not is fucking irrelevant to them. It hurts them in their little feels. So you have these fucking conquered, low testosterone British government officials arresting this man on suspicion of terrorism for making videos without a shirt on. Dude's kind of buff too. I mean, he's not like super jacked, but he's in good shape. And he records his videos, pretty much wraps up every last one with "leave the goats alone," because believe it or not, there's a whole thing about fucking livestock that seems to be very popular with certain members of that culture. Because apparently when, you're still in a civilized country where you're not allowed to marry a child bride, you have to satisfy yourself with livestock instead. And if you have a problem with that, fuck it. I said what I said. You're in the wrong place. Yeah, again, leave the fucking goats alone. I don't have the reach where I'm worried that somebody's going to come after me for saying it. But if you want to do it, I'm not hiding. So yeah, that, like I said, it infuriates me that we have these cells coming into place. Now, granted, there's going to be pushback. Texas has made it where Sharia courts are illegal, and Greg Abbott recently put out a statement saying they have a task force going around looking for townships, villages, counties where they have Sharia courts being instituted and arresting anybody involved in it, because it is a violation of Texas state law to try and do that shit. Now, I don't think that's something we'll actually see on a national scale, as much as it would benefit the entire fucking country to try and stand up before the shit becomes a problem. And I'm a firm believer that, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Sharia law is completely incompatible with Western values, Western ideals, Western beliefs. It has no place here. Now, I'm not opposed to Islamic people of Islamic faith as long as they don't expect the rest of the fucking country to abide by their beliefs, their rules, and their structures. And I don't just apply that to Islamic people. I apply that across the fucking board. I don't care who you worship. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you play to the fucking flying spaghetti monster and walk around with a colander on your goddamn head. I don't care if you think Vermin Supreme is the truth, the way, and the fucking light. And as such, you tie a galosh onto your head on every third Tuesday and go out and praise Vermin. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me until you start expecting me to abide by your values, your laws, your beliefs. If your values, your beliefs, your ideal structure requires that for me to have a right to live, I have to believe in that, or else I am fucking unclean and I deserve to die. Fuck you. Fuck two people that look just like you. Fuck your parents for raising you. Fuck your progeny for coming from you. Fuck everything you ever spawned. Fuck every ideal you've ever held. Fuck every value you've ever held. Fuck your third grade teacher. Fuck the kid who loaned you crayons because you forgot them one day. I hate you. I hate everyone who's ever been nice to you. I hate things you believe in. I hate people that created you. I hate your entire ideal structure. Again, I don't care which label you want to put on it. That's across the fucking board. If you're a radical extremist Christian and you think Christian fundamentalism is the only way, the truth, and light, the only way to God, and you are going to go out and you are going to force other people to believe you in your particular version of Yay Jeebus, even though the factions within Christianity can't even agree on everything. It's I like the factions to say, you know what, go in peace and love and serve the Lord. That's, it's one of those things that sticks to me. Believe it or not, I was actually raised in a Catholic school. I spent a lot of time. I did my time as an altar boy. I had a permanent part down my hair for years. At the end of the day, that's an idea I could get behind. Every fucking major faith in the country, including the goat fuckers, does have some sort of tenet of basically the golden rule. Be good to each other. Be kind. Be compassionate, treat people the way you want to be fucking treated. Now, the only problem I have with that is, again, when you get the radical extremists of any faith, of any sect, of any fucking ideal, including the fucking, I'm an atheist, I'm an agnostic, I believe in the state is my God, because a lot of people on the left do that. They say, it is here and I don't believe in God, I don't believe in a higher power, but I will fucking slaughter you for not believing that my gender ideology cult is the way, the truth, the light. I will fucking go to war with you because I am missing some core component of myself, because I don't have any faith. I don't have any sense of belonging to anything greater. So I'm going to say that this is the way, the truth, and the light for me. And in a sense that the only way this can be valid for me is if it's valid for every fucking buddy else. That's not okay. Like I said, I don't care which angle you're coming at it from. Believe what you want and leave everybody the fuck alone. First, do no harm. Harm no other people. Force your beliefs upon no one. If your beliefs are that valid and that fantastic and that right and that accurate, the truth should be self-evident to all those who are there. It should be something where you don't have to force it upon anybody, because good ideas don't require fucking force. That's why another reason I'm opposed to the government being too involved in fucking anything. That's why, that brings me back to what I was talking about 20 fucking minutes ago before I lost my train of thought. With the modern youth, where they are completely disappointed and they voted in Mondami because they think capitalism has failed them. It's because they are all fiscally illiterate retards who are educated idiots. They spent all kinds of money they didn't have, incurred lifelong debt going to college to get a worthless fucking degree that will never ever pay for itself, because they are fiscally retarded. They don't understand that what we actually have, the system they are so fucking opposed to, this thing they have such a huge fucking problem with, it's socialism is not the answer, because it's already half a socialist situation to begin with. It's an entire situation that's based on the fucking ideal that they call it capitalism, but it's actually not. There's not a free market. There's not a fair market. It's not an open market. It's heavily fucking regulated and influenced by government. There's contracts, kickbacks, corporate cronyism, corporate capitalism, corporate welfare, all of which is transferring wealth from the masses to the minors, to the few, from the many paying for the few. The government's subsidizing businesses that are making killer profits because they don't have competition, because they are operating on a fucking incentive program of, we are told it's why healthcare is becoming untenable and unaffordable when the ACA expires, because the ACA removed competition from the marketplace, said everyone has to carry insurance, or you will be levied penalties by the government. And if you do not go to the marketplace and sign up for these things, now the quality of service went down, the cost went up for everyone who was paying for it. And they're saying, well, it's to offset the cost of people who can't afford good coverage. So now everybody can have good coverage with this marketplace plan. But no, what it actually did was remove the incentive for the insurance companies to provide better service for their dollar because they were guaranteed that you were going to be coming to them anyway. When you have a captive audience, you do not have to provide a quality product. That's why the state owning and operating everything is a horrible fucking idea, because there is no competition. It's, you will do this because you have to. And when you are obligated to do something, there is no obligation for the provider to provide a quality or a service level that would make you do it voluntarily. And it's retarded. And these kids seem to think that what they have is capitalism, but they don't. They have corporate cronyism. They have government sponsored, regulated, and if it was an actual free market, there wouldn't be anybody fucking raiding the Amish for selling unpasteurized milk. They wouldn't be ruining livelihoods for failing to get their fucking audits from the USDA before selling shit to their neighbors. They would not be bankrupting families and taking their land and their property and their holdings in the name of fucking, this was a violation of this statute. They wouldn't have killed Peanut the squirrel because it's illegal to have a squirrel as a pet, and he bit the people that were coming to seize him because he was freaked out and scared, and we had to cut his head off to make sure he didn't have fucking rabies, even though nobody thought he had rabies. They were just doing it to be shitheads. It's utterly fucking disgusting. The people that these educated fucking idiots, these mouth-breathing retards who think they're better than you, think they're smarter than you because they got a worthless piece of paper that will never actually retain its value. They're, being sold the snake oil of, well, if we give the state more control and more authority, you will have a better life, because they're fucking idiots. But they've never actually seen actual capitalism at work. They've never actually seen a system where the government wasn't massively involved and overreaching and doing things. And you can look at things like the slaughter yards and, meat processing facilities and things like that, where you can see that there's a certain need for government regulation because greedy corporate fucking whores will do anything to get a buck, and they will cut corners where they can. So am I saying there should be no inspection or no regulation? No, I'm not. What I am saying is we don't have a free market system in this country. We don't have pure capitalism. We haven't for years. And under pure capitalism, yes, you can make an obscene amount of money, and being morally flexible in a lot of ways can give you an edge. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to sit here and say it can't. But on the other hand, it won't give you nearly as much of an edge as the government saying you have to buy this product or you're going to fucking jail, So that's kind of food for thought, I guess. For now, that's what I had to say.